Hello, thank you for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier of Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. And today I thought I'd share with you this card made using the Amazing Year set from the 2022 to 23 annual catalogue. This card is one that I'm actually teaching in my classes this month, and it's a little bit of a case from the sample in the catalogue. And if you have a look at this set in the catalogue, you'll see kind of where I got my basic ideas from. It's a lovely little card to make, very easy. Looks complicated, it's actually pretty easy. So I'm happy to share that with you today. So as we go along, if you see anything that I use today and you think that would be a great addition to your craft room, don't forget that if you live in New Zealand, you can shop with me wherever you might be. And the link to my online store is in the video description below, and you can also get to it through the media card at the end of this video. So we'll crack on with what we need to make it. Obviously this lovely Amazing Year set, which has got these two beautiful images, the gift and the bouquet of flowers, and all these lovely little birthday wishes. Happy birthday, birthday wishes to a wonderful friend. And you can mix and match those however you want. Now, because this is a card that I'm using in my class, I'll just show you the little kit that I would give to my class people, and I'll tell you what all the different bits are for. So I've got a base of Pool Party. So for me it's a standard size, half of an A4 sheet of paper. Whoops, don't know what that is, where that came from. So it's 21 centimetres wide, scored at 10.5, and I've cut it at 14.8. Now if you are not a metrics person, this is my standard card size base, so you just use whatever your standard card size base is and make adjustments as you need. So the base, there's lots of little bits, but don't be alarmed, they all have a purpose. So we'll start with these ones, because these are for the inside. So this is a piece of Daffodil Delight. It's cut at 10 centimetres wide, 14.3, and then there's a piece of basic white that goes inside of it. Again, it's half a centimetre smaller, which if you're an imperial person is about 1/4 inch. So this one is 9.5 by 13.8, and we'll pop those aside because we don't need them at the moment. Now we've got two pieces of basic white. One is Pool Party, and it is 10 centimetres by 14.3, and then there is an apparently same sized piece of basic white, but if you put them together you will see that the basic white is I've cut it just about 1 millimetre or 2 smaller, and that's because that's the piece that's poking through, and so I've made it just a tiny bit smaller so that there's less chance of the edge poking out where you don't want it to be. And then we've got these other little pieces, and I'll show you what they're all for too. So this piece, this larger white piece, which is, how big is it? It's about 8 centimetres by 10. We are going to take this image here and stamp it, because we're going to colour it in. So that's what that piece is for. This square piece, which is about 7.5 centimetres square, what we're going to do with that is we're going to take the stylish shapes dies, we're going to take the second largest circle, and we're going to cut that out. Now, with these two pieces, these are for the sentiment. So with the little piece of Pool Party, we're going to take the happy birthday, we're going to stamp it, and we're going to cut it out with this stylish shaped die, just like that. And the piece of Daffodil Delight, we're going to take this one, and we're going to cut it like that. Now what we're going to do with these big ones is create this lovely spotty background, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this beautiful dots and spots die, and it is exactly what it says on the packet. It just cuts you out a beautiful set of polka dots. Now me, I'm fussy. So I'm not just going to slap that on any old where, because when I've done it, I want there to be a nice symmetrical pattern. Like, I don't want half circles on one side and a big gap on the other. So I'm going to spend a bit of time working out where to put it. And you see, if I put it there, I'm going to get some half circles, or I'm going to run very close to the edge. So I'm going to place my piece of paper here, my piece of card here. And you can see if I line up that top, I'm going to just catch the bottom. It's just going to be caught with the top of that line of circles, and I don't like that, so I'm just going to lift it up so that when I put it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, that little piece is just going to be poking up. And that is just because I'm fussy and I don't want sort of half circles on one side and big gaps on the other. So when I run it through that die, I'll end up with this lovely piece of paper like that. Now what you could do is you could just attach it straight on for a little bit of texture, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to put a colour underneath it like that. And that's why that piece of white is cut just a millimetre or two under. Now the way I'm going to glue that together is because I don't want glue oozing out through all of those holes. So I'm going to get my silicone mat, bit of glue, and I am just going to dab on some glue. Oops. I underestimated how much glue. Okay, but that's all right, because you can always just pop a bit more in. And what this does is it's going to give you the gluiness without the ooziness. Unfortunately, you do lose a little bit of the wiggle room that you normally get with glue. But the payoff is no oozy glue out the front. And before I give that a press, I'm just going to have a look and make sure that it's looking good. Nice. And I'm just going to give that a little rub over with my bone folder. Okay, so we can pop that aside. What we're going to do next is we are going to colour in this. Now I've used stamping blends, but you could use whatever you like, and so I've used Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, and just a touch or two of Calypso Coral, just to give the centres a little bit more depth. When I'm using stamping blends, I like to start with a light, and I like to start with the light. Then I like to go in and add in whatever accents I'm going to add in. So I'm going to add in just a little touch of, oops, Calypso Coral. And then I'm going to come in with the dark. And just start spreading it around a bit. And now, because that centre of that flower did not quite stamp as dark as I'd like, I'm just going to add in a touch of black Stampin' Blend, just to darken up the centres a little bit. And then I might just finish off with blending over again with some light, because that's always helpful for just blending out. When you've added in your colours, I always like to finish with just going back over with the lightest colour. Now, when you're happy with your colouring, and if I wasn't videoing, I might faff around with that a little bit more, the thing you're going to do next is fussy cut. And what we're going to do, because I don't need the tag, is that when I'm fussy cutting, I'm going to cut that right off. Okay, so there's my little floral bouquet, all fussy cut out and with the little tag cut off. And so now it's really just a matter of putting together all of our little bits. Oops, we'll take that away and pop in the cut out one. So I've got my card base and I have got my lovely little polka dot card front to put on. So we can glue him on straight away. You just need a bit of glue around the edge. Close enough to stick down, but not so close that it will ooze out. A bit of a blobble in the middle. And then we can pop that on. And the glue will give us room to just wiggle that. So it's nice and straight. Okay, now we've got to assemble our circle, our flowers, and our sentiment, and our banner. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to slice that in half because we only need the ends poking out. We are going to get some dimensionals, oops, those are minis, and we are going to pop some dimensionals on the back of our bouquet. If you've watched me before, you'll know that I'm quite profligate with dimensionals because I don't like the feeling that whatever I've popped up is going to sag over time. So I'm one of those people who would use too many dimensionals rather than not enough. Just look away if you don't like that. But I just, especially when I'm scrapbooking, I have this fear of looking back and finding that I've just got this saggy bit in the middle. So that's me. Some people are much more cautious in their dimensional use. Okay, so we're gonna, once we've popped some dimensionals on there, we will attach it to that lovely stitched circle. And then we're going to pop on the sentiment, and again we're going to need dimensional at each end, and a little bit of glue in the middle so it will attach to the stem of the bouquet. We'll pop that nice and centered. And now we can see where we want to pop these. So we want them so that they are, we want it so it's just popping out behind. And when you do that, you want to make sure that firstly it's straight, and secondly that you've got a similar amount poking out at each end. Like you don't want a big tail at one end and a little tail at the other. How does that look? It doesn't look quite right. That looks better. Okay, so when you're happy that you've got it straight and looking good, then you can just glue the back. And pop it onto your card front. And again, I'm using the grid paper to help me here. Just make sure that I've got it straight and centered. Now, is it straight and centered? Yes, it appears to be. So the very last thing I'm going to do is pop on some bling. I'm going to use some of these iridescent rhinestones, but you could use whatever kind of embellishment you'd like. I'm actually quite a big fan of just plain rhinestones. I'm using the tip of my paper snips, which I don't usually use because for some reason my little pokey tool has gone missing in action. And actually scissors don't work anywhere near as well. Okay, so perhaps we'll just pop one. Whoops. One down there. Okay, and then the final thing I'm going to do, oops, I know I said that was the final thing, but of course I've forgotten about the inside. So remember we put aside a mat of Daffodil Delight and a piece of basic white, and this is what I'm going to do with it. What I've done is I have taken this flower that we used, stamped it in Pool Party, and then I've stamped over the top of it this sentiment: you're an entire year more amazing and as lovely as ever. But of course you could do to a wonderful friend, or you could do birthday wishes, or of course you could just leave the bouquet of flowers. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching me make that card, and I hope you'll go away and give it a go yourself. And that technique of using the dots and spots folder with a colour underneath it is a really nice thing that you could use in all sorts of things. I have got a couple of other things that I've made using the Amazing Year stamp set. This is the same card, but I've chosen Calypso Coral over Daffodil Delight as my accent colour, and I used coloured pencils rather than blends on that one, but that's a very similar one. This one I stamped onto crumb cake because, you know, blends, you can colour with blends onto a light coloured card base as well. This one here uses the gift, that lovely little gift stamp, and I've just repeat stamped it over, used some of that lovely metallic mesh ribbon and the birthday wishes embossed. Have I done anything on the, oh yes, and again just a little thing on the inside. And this one also uses the gift image. I've just stamped it in different colours, cut it out and attached it to a card base. So you can see it's quite a versatile little set for birthdays. Anyway, as always, I'm more than happy to answer questions, and you can contact me through my Jan Clothier Independent Stamping Up Demonstrator Facebook page or through my blog, Thinking Stamping, the details of which are underneath the end card. Sorry, both underneath the video and on the end card. As always, if you have seen anything that you've liked, you're welcome to shop with me from anywhere in New Zealand, and there's a link to my store in the video below. And if you haven't subscribed to me already, and please do so you don't miss anything new that I do. And above all else, happy stamping.